All right, folks. It is another week, another day, another episode. Fanboys Radio is on. Hi. Myself, Mr. Green, Kitty Ninja are back to ramble about some good stuff. And in this particular episode, we've started checking into some animated movies. Let me not say animation movies, animated movies. And of course, what's more fun than to talk about or go into review and all that good stuff like that. Now, I will say this for the benefit of those that may not have seen any of these things that may get brought up. There is the potential for a spoiler to exist. The potential for spoilers are here. So, I apologize in advance.
Right. If it's super big, we won't say it, but we get excited.
I'm trying not to spoil
anything. And I was
anything.
right. Studio 4C is Japanese. Sorry. I guess you need to catch everybody else up.
Yes. Off air, Kitty Ninja and myself were trying to find out who exactly was the animation team behind Justice League, the Flashpoint Paradox. If you have not seen that, you should see that, but let me make this perfectly clear to anybody that may decide to go get that. That is not the movie that you're going to share and watch with your kid. If your kid is, say, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, if they're just into like superhero cartoons, that's not the one for them. It's a great little movie, but it's not for kids. It's PG-13. It's very much PG-13, and it has a strong Japanese anime influence attached to it. So if you know anything about anime, that right there is going to tell the tale. I shouldn't even have to tell you anything more beyond that.
I was looking at it, and
so now that I've seen that,
reminded me of some very epic anime that I've seen, because, that's all I do is watch anime. I looked it up, and one of the studios that produced it was Studio 4 Degrees Celsius, and they did a bunch of the movies by Otomo Katsuhiro, who did Akira. So I'm looking at it, and they were the studio that did Memories, which is another one of his movies, which was really good, and Mind Game, also a really good one. But, yeah, no, there's a lot of all the stuff they've done. Oh, and they did the Peace, Eco, Smile movies. Those are good.
Oh, man. Okay, so this is a company that typically does anime. Is that what you're saying? Or that's a good part of their resume?
Well, I was like, I knew it. Yes, they started with anime, but it looks like they also did. So now they're doing more of the non-anime stuff because they did Halo Legends. And they did...
I have not seen that. I have to look at it.
Gotham Knight, the short story ones.
Okay.
They did all of the Berserk series, but that's anime.
I remember those.
Anime.
They're like the whole thing now.
They're doing movies with the Akira guy. So, because I was watching it, and before the show, so everyone understands, I was like, this is anime. I know I say that a lot. So I didn't want it to sound like I'm making everything anime, but, yeah. They do have a nice little resume going.
Okay. Well, they've done a fair job in animation, at least I think so. So now let's get to this movie here. I know you haven't been totally complete with it, but it's safe to say that when you look at this, you see a good anime feel of this movie, correct?
When you get involved in your animated movies, you watch as many as I do. It's like you get the stuff that's a little too cartoony, and then you get the stuff that's almost too, I don't want to say realistic, but too I can't even think of another word but adult. I mean, there's none of that surreal, cartoony. I can't explain it. But you know what I mean? So they just keep the color tones very ordinary, like true to life. But good animation has a blend of the two.
Well, let's start with this then, because but let's start with this. You being the anime expert, define what is anime. For anybody that does not know, I mean, if they don't know the difference between American animation and anime,
so many things, but
explain,
it
please.
really is Japanese animation, so it can be almost anything.
Okay.
I mean, it could be Hamtaro.
That's correct. Now,
you know,
I guess
blood and nudity.
In my eyes,
it could be like all the extremes, but it's technically at the highest level of Japanese animation.
Okay. Now, I try not to just categorize it as blood and nudity, but I will say that when you're dealing with anime, you have to account for blood and nudity because the standards and practices of broadcast of animation in Japan
everywhere. And then again on my anime
extremely different.
I think somewhere along the line, Korean animation has been lumped into anime because it makes sense. But long time ago, anime just means animation in Japanese, which is the word for it. So, but I diverge. But really, anime is like any TV you'll see. That's what I tell people. I mean, it's a medium just like filming, you know. So if you say anything that's filmed, that could be a kid's show, it could be a commercial, it could be, you know, banned from the whole world type of content. It could be anything, really. But it's not about the subject. It's just the way it's captured. You know, so if you think of anything that's a movie or TV show, or anything that's on camera, you can't really define it as kid-friendly or not. It's just everything, right? That's how anime is, too. It's just a form of medium. It's just a form of media. It's like,
yeah.
So you're right. I mean, a lot of parents, like, there's sometimes, because, you know, I go to a lot of anime conventions, and people just, but it's the same with comics. We've had this conversation before. People assume video games, comics, and cartoons are for kids only, and it's all the same. But it's not. So, you know, I'll see kids in costumes related to anime or manga, and I'm like, they should not have been reading or watching that. Like, or video games, too. So people just think, oh, it's a video game, or, oh, it's a comic, it's harmless. We all know that's not true. I mean, a comic could be about anything. Like picking up a book, you don't know. Right.
Yes, it can, depending on who's producing it. Depending on who's writing, who's producing. But I guess needless to say, there are certain comic books or certain animation companies that you can look at and probably have felt pretty comfortable, like, okay, I picked this up, it's going to be all right. I guess I have to rewind the clock a little bit in order for me to make that example. I'm just going to say like Filmation. Filmation doesn't exist anymore, but you pretty much knew if you were picking up a Filmation or a Don Bluth animated movie or something along those lines, then you were pretty safe. I would say, you know, the stories didn't venture out too far into the, you know, anything crazy or off kilter. I think one of the standing, I don't want to say differences because your definition is totally right. It could be anything. I just think that the way that animation overseas is perceived, and that it's a medium that could take on anything, is exactly that. You know, opposed to here. It's like I was reading with G.I. Joe some time ago, the original G.I. Joe series. You know, who produced that?
The cartoon?
Marvel. Marvel produced the original G.I. Joe series that used to run during the week.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the Hasbro. I mean, it was Marvel and Sunbow. Yeah. So I mean, it's a combination of them. But in any case, I read that standards and practices for shows such as that would not allow for death. I mean, same thing with Voltron. Voltron is another one. When they brought it in from overseas to reproduce the Go Lion series as Voltron, as we know it here in America, they would not allow for death of a living being. That was the mandate that came down from standards and practice. So if they defined what they were killing in the show as a robot or something of that nature, it was fair game because, they're like, all right, it's a robot. You're just destroying an object. You're not taking a life. So all of that to say, you normally don't see the portrayal of death in animation in America all that often, or at least you didn't. Now you do because, hey, if you're buying this DVD like I did, again, Justice League Flashpoint, the Flashpoint Paradox, then you're fair game. You should know what you're picking up when you get it. Because there's two very different portions of this universe that exist in this movie. It starts off in what I would consider a very normal DC universe type environment, like we all are used to.
You're right.
Well, I mean, it's a feel, but you don't see anything. Yeah, you don't see anything taken. You didn't see the death of that person at the funeral. You're right. It started off at the funeral, but it wasn't anything graphic, I guess. And when they fought the villains in there, nothing. Nobody was shooting to kill. They were just aiming to stop them. Once that movie turned the coin over to its alternate timeline, that's when everything went off. It became fair game then. Anybody in there could go down any number of ways at that point. Now, is it going to be as bad as, say, Ninja Scroll? No. But it is certainly a little bit deeper than what I would expect out of any DC animated movie.
It's not like the whole movie's bad. It's bloody. There are a few. Yeah, I know. I'm saying a few.
The whole movie's not bad, but come on, it's Ninja Scroll.
And that's like I was watching Kite the other day. It's an 80s anime movie. It's kind of epic. It's on everyone's must-watch list, and there's just like one or two scenes that are just like weird. I think they cut them out on Netflix, so you can actually watch it on Netflix, and those random scenes aren't there. But you're right.
Well, I just say, well, you know what? Let's put it this way: despite the amount of gratuitous scenes that Ninja Scroll may have, they are pretty defined scenes. So when you come in and you see the Chancellor having his way with his geisha that particular evening,
she's also one of
that pretty much says that, hey, everybody's fair game in this movie.
He's multi-purpose.
Also one of his ninjas, but she was his
I'm glad I looked this up because I just added
that particular scene. But anyway,
I forgot about from Studio
Flashpoint
or Degrees to my anime list. So again, anyone listening, what I've watched, what I'm going to watch anime, and you can see how much anime I watch and how sad it is. Kitty Ninja, N-I-J-A, on my anime list.
That's right. But in any case, now here comes the spoiler. If you don't know what Justice League Flashpoint is about, it begins illustrating Flashes, the Barry Allen Flash, because I know there's multiple Flashes in here, but we're talking about the Barry Allen Flash, and it's illustrating the loss that he had earlier in his life from his mother. His mother died when he was a child, and he apparently carried this guilt. He's carried it for some time. And when it gets brought up to him again by Professor Zoom, who's just doing something to take a dig at him, he decides that he should fix it. But in fixing that, he alters everything. Like everything in the DC universe just gets changed. Despite the fact that it's such a small fix, it creates this ripple effect, if for lack of a better term. So now you have everything off kilter. Aquaman and Wonder Woman, the Amazons and the Atlanteans are at war. Superman never even made it to become Superman. Batman is an entirely different person.
Yes, but he is in this movie too.
Batman #1 is Kevin Conroy.
Oh yeah.
There are two. Yeah, but there are two of them.
And another little bit. Ron
there are
Coleman
two Batman.
is one of the voice actors too.
Batman. Sorry.
Oh boy. I love him.
Yes, he is. And a random factoid here pertaining to this movie is that Sam Daly is voicing Superman, who happens to be the son of Tim Daly, who voiced Superman
That's like the family
in the series,
tradition,
the animated series,
to be Superman.
So ta-da!
Not like you have to be a doctor or a lawyer.
That is the family job. Be Superman. Be the Superman voice actor. That is correct. But it needs to be said, Aquaman was a beast in this movie. Aquaman was a beast in this. I mean, if there's any point that somebody was thinking that Aquaman was a punk or that the character is no good, you need to watch this movie. You need to watch this movie. I mean, granted, it is Aquaman in an alternate timeline, but it shows exactly what Aquaman can do when he's pushed to do it. That guy was ridiculous in this movie. Wonder Woman also ridiculous in this movie. I mean, I have to give it credit that they took what some people over the years have considered two of the, off-kilter characters, and they really showed them at full bloom. It was something else. I mean, I have to say, and you should see that. Wonder Woman, clearly not afraid to kill anybody in this thing. Aquaman, clearly not afraid to kill anybody in this thing. Well, I'm trying to explain that without giving away too many spoilers. But a relationship that existed between the two of them escalated into a war, and they are just tearing the Earth apart. The Earth is just basically collateral damage. They're not really concerned with what's going on in, the U.S.
And then as an added bonus, Aquaman.
Everybody else around them, that's just collateral damage.
The guy who plays Wesley in Princess Bride. So, come on. As you wish. Yes. Over here on the, voice actor list.
Oh, Carrie Elways?
Bloom, who's
Carrie Elways?
But, yes. So, he's Aquaman, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, he gave Aquaman a lot of life in there, and yes, you should take a look at that. Well, he was one of the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Come on,
which is a quick nerd association there, because if you get that reference, then yes, you've seen the
got it.
Known as the Princess Bride. But yes, Mr. Green's suggestion: if you have not seen that movie, you need to go pick it up. You need to download it. You need to go purchase it or something. Very good, but keep in mind it is not for your kids to watch, because my son saw this cover and he was like, "Hey, I want to see that movie." I was like, I can't let you watch it, son. I'm sorry, I can't. we can't have that. I mean, he wouldn't understand Batman, even if it is Earth. I'm not gonna say Earth 2. We're gonna say alternate timeline Batman. Even if it is alternate timeline Batman, he ain't gonna understand him dying or Cyborg or Superman. I mean, because basically a lot of them cats just was biting off. And I'm not gonna tell you which ones did what, but again, everybody's fair game. Every character,
and we also
every
have to
character
remember, though, that
is fair game on that timeline.
Parents that under monitor all this stuff. A lot of the kids that started with Saturday morning cartoons are now older. So we just kind of brought our cartoons and comics with us. But you're right. So if you want to watch the movie and the kids want to see Batman, you put the new one, Brave and the Bold. You could play that downstairs and go watch Flashpoint upstairs.
Well, I do have two other ones that are, I guess, a little bit more kid-friendly. This one was mine. The Justice League Flashpoint Paradox. That was for Daddy. I picked that up for me, and I got a chance to sit down and watch that. I thought it was really cool. I thought the story was good. And I can't say enough about that if you have not watched it. There is nothing else to say other than you need to go see it, because I'm wanting to get into scenes with people, but at the same time I don't want to spoil that for you. But I will say this, that the Bruce Wayne Batman, again, Kevin Conroy, he is in there, but he's in there in timeline A. In timeline B, there is no Bruce Wayne. So the Batman that you see, he is a Wayne, but he's not Bruce. Ta-da! So, in fact, and again, I'm not giving anything major away. It is a spoiler. Spoiler alert. Let's say that right now. It is a spoiler, but it's not a major spoiler. The Joker that exists in that timeline also is a Wayne.
Because it's like they're scared of what they would do without each other.
Well, I don't think it's for lack of trying.
I don't know what they're afraid of.
Well, in this universe, I don't think it's for lack of trying. He just, he couldn't get a hold of it. Oh, yeah, the Joker's not a man in that one either.
That's a lot, but there's a lot to happen.
So yeah, all right, that's all the spoilers.
Well, I really like it because
it
looks like my favorite Batman animated movie, which was that one with all the mini stories. Yeah. Same team that did that. I love that movie.
Oh, what's that, Gotham Knights? Was that what this?
I like all of them, but whatever.
So yes, I know you do. You look these. We said it a number of occasions. DC animated movies, great stuff.
Right now, just
great stuff.
Just being me. What I do.
Now, if you want something a little bit more kid friendly, to show off for your, let's say, 10 and under, Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel. I was waiting to see when exactly Disney was going to somehow incorporate Marvel stuff into their properties. Here's the first one, or at least the first one that I've seen. I don't know. That's it. Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel. It is
I don't think I've ever seen the show, but this
it's a little straight to DVD movie.
Available on the Disney site. That's where I was watching it.
Now,
the Flashpoint.
Yeah, what? You haven't seen Phineas and Ferb?
Just bring.
Is
it good?
You haven't seen Phineas and Ferb?
I'm sure it is. I've seen
it.
I mean, I hate to admit some of the teen shows that I watched that I used to love. Like, what was the one?
It's a guilty pleasure.
Oh man, I can't even think of the name. iCarly. That show is hilarious. Every time somebody watching iCarly, like, why am I watching this? This is bad. So I believe that it could be funny and good because some of those writers are just, great writers. That Nickelodeon and Disney have right now for that kind of tween crowd. That
yes,
it's
they
impressive
are.
writing. So I just say I'm not exposed to Phineas and Ferb. Sorry, I'll catch up.
Okay. Well, I'll make this one quick then. Of course, we all know Disney has purchased Marvel. And with that being the case, all Marvel properties, all Marvel animated properties, basically broadcast on Disney and Disney XD. So you have, what was that, Hulk and the Agents of Smash was on there, the Avengers and the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Spider-Man, was it Ultimate Spider-Man, that was broadcast on there. So, you got all the Marvel characters which exist on that network. And of course, on that network also, you got Phineas and Ferb, these two kids that basically every day is like, okay, Ferb, I know what we're going to do today. And they invent something because these kids are in cartoon world, they're geniuses. So somehow or another, we got these two worlds that have collided, and they make somehow they've managed to mesh a Marvel universe, Spider-Man, Thor, Hulk, and Iron Man, into the Phineas and Ferb animated world, and it matches up pretty good. And even having characters like the Red Skull and the MODOK and just stuff like that, they really managed to make that get in there good without making it seem too corny. So if you're a Marvel purist and you don't want to see your characters dumbed down, you might want to skip this, but it's fine. Yeah, so it's a little bit of satire. Come on, it's a cool thing to watch, especially if you've watched Phineas and Ferb. If you've watched that show, this episode or this movie is going to fit right along with that. It's not going to bother you. It's not going to be, it's not going to seem too silly or off kilter because it fits right into their humor, and they make those characters fit right into their humor. It's kind of like they just got a little guest star role in an extended episode. That's probably the best way that I could put it. Nobody's going to be in danger of death or nothing like that. They just they have ridiculous stuff and it's jokes almost every page. Yeah, you can practically read the script as you're watching this.
It's always good to.
So very lighthearted stuff, very lighthearted material. And if you're into that type of thing like me, if you're into that type of thing like me, then
what's it called? The new movie?
Grab that. Watch it. And it comes with a little comic book and poster for your kids too.
All right.
Phineas and I sold it on you. Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel. That was DVD 2. And I won't go into review for that because you haven't had the chance to watch Phineas and Ferb, so I can't really get into
me.
Very good. And the final one, JLA Adventures, Trapped in Time. That is the final DVD review that I could give you, or that I'm going to give at this particular one. JLA Adventures, Trapped in Time, Justice League of America. They just trimmed it down. That's all. And as far as I know, according to the individual wrapping that it had at Target, it's exclusive to Target.
I could just buy a whole movie and just say, only we have.
Of course, if they want you to buy it.
Wow. Go to Target. I like Target, so.
That's correct.
I do. I do like Target, so.
Yeah, well, it is a exclusive feature to Target. Supposedly, we're just going to go with that ideal, and this one has a lot of, well, maybe not a lot, but it's got a couple of Easter eggs for people like me. If you grew up watching, say, Super Friends versus the Legion of Doom, got some Easter eggs in there for you as a viewer. You probably would have need to have seen that original cartoon first, because even the way it opens up, where the heroes are running towards the villains, and it's got this little clash in the middle, that is an updated version of what they had in that Super Friends versus Legion of Doom opening montage, which I thought was really cool. And they actually have the freaking Legion of Doom in here.
The original bad guys anymore.
And I think they got most of them. I do believe they have most of those Legion of Doom characters from the cartoon thrown into this movie. They got Solomon Grunt, they got Bizarro, they got Captain Cole, Black Manta, Gorilla Grodd. Who else is in that thing? They have the animated version of Toyman. They have Cheetah. I want to say that even the Justice League is pretty accurate, except for Cyborg.
He's not. It's not.
They have
not
Cyborg
accurate.
in
He's
there.
not in there.
They don't have.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't in the original. He wasn't in the Super Friends, or that version of the Super Friends. I think they took away the made up characters that was in the Super Friends, like Samurai and Black Vulcan and Apache Chief.
The cultural diversity.
And they added in Cyborg and Robin and yes, that's right. The cultural diversity characters were removed and placed with the actual cultural diversity characters of DC. So there you go. The story. Let me give you the story. The plot here is, of course, the Legion of Doom and the Justice League are engaged in the battle, which ends with Lex Luthor being lost. I think they're fighting, let's just say, off in the Antarctic. And it ends with Lex Luthor being lost. Luthor is...
Oh, so he was...
Yeah, but unbeknownst to them, because they couldn't find him, Luthor was frozen in ice, and he was placed into a museum in the 31st century. So anybody that follows the comic book knows the 31st century in DC Universe is the Legion of Super.
He froze himself.
Technically, he didn't get caught. He didn't get caught. Now he didn't freeze himself. He just fell. During the battle, he just got pushed off into some ice. Oh, well, let me not say that. Spoiler alert, Captain Cole overloads a machine that they have, and that causes a sheet of ice to basically engulf Luthor. So they believe him to be dead, when in all actuality it froze him. Now we transition to the 31st century. And again, if you are a DC comic book follower, if you're a DC comic book fanboy, the 31st century in DC comic book universe means the Legion of Superheroes. In this particular movie, Dawnstar and Karate Kid are not full-fledged members of the Legion of Superheroes yet. They're superheroes in training. You see them in their teenage years. And they're in the museum. They're walking through and they're looking at the stuff like that. And of course, you have Karate Kid, who's really impatient and he doesn't want to wait. I want to be a hero now. And they come to the Lex Luthor exhibit, and he decides to show Dawnstar his ability to, he can find the weak point in any object, and he uses his extraordinary abilities. He sees the weak point, and he takes a quick shot at this block of ice that they put in this museum, but he stops an inch off. So he doesn't think that he causes any problem until they walk away. And of course, you can guess what happens. The crack starts to tremble because the vibration carried it over, and now it breaks open. And Luthor thaws out, and he realizes he's in the 31st century.
So it's almost like if Luthor can get stuck in ice, that means Batman can too, accidentally.
Yeah.
I always thought that Lex Luthor wouldn't let that happen.
Well, Batman wouldn't let that happen.
Crazy
Batman's an escape
genius.
artist. That's the one plus he has over Luthor.
That's true.
Well, yep. But but Luthor isn't an escape artist. Batman is. See, there lies the difference. But here, in any case, long story short, Luthor finds what is known as the Time Trapper. He takes that, makes his way back towards his present, and he begins to execute a plan to get rid of the Super Friends, which is actually a revamp of a Legion of Doom / Super Friends episode from back in the day. I should say he's going back in time to get rid of the Justice League. Now that's a revamp of a Super Friends episode, because he decides, hey, if Superman never makes it here, then there is no Justice League. So he sends the guys back to stop Superman from ever arriving at Earth, because he has knowledge now from the future that Superman is Clark Kent, and therefore he knows where he's going and all that good stuff. So now, without unveiling how they resolve this, you need to go find that movie, download it, or purchase it, and watch the end result. And they got 2 little bonus Super Friend episodes in there too. So, and I didn't mean to say Super Friends. It is actually Super Friend episodes. Yes, I can say it again. JLA Adventures Trapped in Time, which is supposed to be a Target original, and Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel, which comes with this miniature comic book and collectible poster. And I forgot to say the bonus episodes for JLA, one Super Friends episode and one Super Friends short.
Too, but mine aren't
so,
as exciting
boom,
as yours.
there you go. Both of which.
Or you just told them well. You're just so excited about it. Now I'm all excited about it.
Mine weren't excited. They were just good stuff. Good stuff. Because I haven't sat down and watched I haven't gone on a binge of just watching movies in a while. So when I sat down and watched, I was like, man, this is
your
good.
First not great movie to review.
I was happy. I was happy.
And you're like, all right, let's finish this. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, well, you know. When that happens, you know, I'm sure that will not be a wonderful time, but, you know, it's all right. But I encourage anybody that hasn't seen any of those things, you should go check it out. It's pretty cool to see it. You know, pretty cool to see the Legion of superheroes interact with the Justice League. And I will say that here again, there is an Easter egg that is tossed into this movie. If you remember the very first incarnation of the Super Friends, where they had the Wendy and Marvin character, along with Wonder Dog, when you watch this, pay attention, because those characters updated are strolling around in the background somewhere. You have to see. So anyway,
I will. So
be sure to go out there and pick those things up.
Again.
Wonderful material. Wonderful. The names of JLA Adventures, Time Trapper. Sorry. No, that's the character. I tell a lie. That is not it. JLA Adventures, Trapped in Time. Time Trapper is the villain. He's the character. So JLA Adventures, Trapped in Time. That is the first one. Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel, not Mission to Marvel. Phineas and Ferb, Mission Marvel is the second one. And of course, those two are for kids. They're kids friendly. You can take care and look at those. Now, if you want one that's meant for the big people, Justice League, the Flashpoint Paradox. Have to see those. Yeah, it was very entertaining. Very entertaining movies. I enjoyed every last one of those.
A lot of.
And I got a few more to watch.
Just like animated movies that have Batman in them have a very kind of somber cemetery scene in them. And I just think it's funny. So I keep seeing it in my head going, oh, Batman, you're so emo. do. I like him.
Well, he's not supposed to be happy.
It's just predictable. I mean,
the
he's
man
all
lost
black.
his parents.
I'm wearing a Batman thing right now, and it's all black. So I mean, I get it. I really.
Oh yeah, and I also have to say that for those people that that care about the voice actors and stuff like that, I know everybody's always like, I want Kevin Conroy to be Batman, but Dietrich Bader, I think I'm pronouncing his last name that up, but Dietrich, the guy that was the voice of Batman and Batman Brave and the Bold series, is Batman in Justice League Adventures, and I like Dietrich.
Well, I mean,
I thought he did a good
Batman,
job as picking up the role from
we
Kevin
need different
Conroy.
kinds of Batman. Like there's Adam
he is
Batman,
a different kind of Batman.
Can't have a world without that. Very different than somber emo Batman.
Well, which reminds me, now that you bring that up, I have to go off into my sidebar, the comic book portion, which is something that I'm going to check out. Actually, I think I'm going to check them out tonight.
No, I'm not.
Have you read any of the Batman 66 issues?
Did you read them? Should I read them?
I would figure that you would go for it because you
why
love Adam West, and this is basically based on Adam West's Batman.
So reviews, some of the newer ones.
So let's get this clear for other people. Batman 66 is nothing to do with the canon of the DC universe. It is just a little imagined story about what if DC Comics reimagined the Batman TV series in comic book form. That's basically what it is. So the Batman that you're reading in this is Adam West, or at least Adam West's Batman. It looks like him. It looks like Burt Ward. They are dealing with the characters from the series, some of which have transitioned over into being mainstream characters. Like King Tut, and I don't know if the Bookworm ever made it. I don't remember if he ever made it in, but I know King Tut did transition at some point. Freeze, of course, we all know Mr. Freeze made it over. So yeah, if you just want a fun little comic to read, they are available on Comixology, which is the greatest place for you to get comic books in digital format this time. Just download it right there. They got a bunch of free ones that have been tossed on too, but right now I'm plugging Batman.
Yes, they were on sale this week.
And I think they're 99 cents an issue.
Email list,
so, I mean, really.
Whenever they've got their 99-cent sales, sometimes they have different ones every day for the week. You get an email. Okay. All of these are on sale today, and all of these are on sale today. And they do it often, so it's definitely worth checking into.
That's right, and fair warning for people. Now that that's said, fair warning here. Comixology did have a issue earlier. I want to say this week. I got an email from them that was basically saying change your password. So if you haven't got that, you may want to look into it. They basically forced me to do it. It was like I can read you the first paragraph of it. Dear comics reader, in the course of a recent review and upgrade of our security infrastructure, we determined that an unauthorized individual accessed a database of ours that contained usernames, emails, addresses, and cryographically protected passwords. Payment account is not stored on our servers, even though we store our passwords in protected form as a precautionary measure. We are requiring all users to change their passwords on Comixology platform and recommend that you promptly change the passwords on any other website that you use with the same or similar password name. And they sent me the link and, all that good stuff. So if you're a Comixology subscriber, you may want to check your email, see if you got that, so you can take care of your account. We don't want anybody to go digging off into your stuff. And hopefully Comixology has got that thing settled, because I actually enjoy Comixology, especially with the death of all of my comic book stores, more or less. I'm really kind of disappointed about that, but hey. I still get some hard copy comic books every once in a while. I just have to order them now instead of going online to actually going to a store and buy it.
Look through and decide what you want and walk out with books in your hand.
Yeah, but you know, the only thing that makes me feel comfortable with Comixology is that I know that it's not just subjected to my tablet.
Right.
Like I know as long as I have the Comixology account, I can access the stuff on my computer or whatever the case may be. So, I mean, so that's cool. But I still I haven't moved up quite yet, kid. I still enjoy the feel of a comic book. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy reading the digital version of it too. It's very cool, especially when you lay in the bed and it's dark and you got a pretty much well lit comic book in your hand without needing a light. And I can bring a bunch of them in there without me having to bring a bunch of physical comic books in there. So yeah, it's great.
That newer style. So like the Zenoscope comics, because I do prefer like a hard copy of all books and comics and manga. But those Zenoscope comics on digital platform just look amazing. It's like watching a movie on Blu-ray. Or it's like watching a great animation in Blu-ray, just all the colors, and it depends too. So if you're reading all the Alice series, get both. Because they just look amazing digitally. I mean, I don't know if that's what their intent was. Because they really put the focus on the color and structure and everything on digital platform for those comics, Zenoscope comics.
Okay. I have to check into my comics pile, actually, now that I think about it. Well, now that you've talked about it, anyway. Also, on my list for tonight, just quick note, because I haven't watched it yet. I've read the comic. I own the comic, but The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2, that is on the list. I have to watch that tonight. So it is... that is on DVD. I have not seen it on Netflix yet. Is it
because I'm in
that you have to get up and leave? See what the internet's done to you? I gotta leave.
People and things.
That's right. We don't want to see light right now. I gotta just huddle up in my... Yes. I was sure that you had that.
Probably should. I guess
this is what happens. I was like, Batman, Dark Knight Returns, you gotta have it.
I mean, besides groceries. I don't see things, and then I go, I forget. I do.
You need to get it.
And I'm like, man, yeah, it definitely.
You need to get it.
Yes.
That's right up your alley.
Yes.
You do have the comic though, right? You got the graphic novel. Okay. There you go. At least have that. if you don't have the animated version, at least have the graphic novel. All right. So there we have it. But those were my DVD reviews for tonight, and I have a bunch more that I have to go through. Of course, Kitty Ninja will. I'm trying to. This thing that we're doing here is a constant morphing and still trying to find that thing that makes it fit like a glove. Yeah. And I figured, hey, DVDs, always enjoy those. Always excited about those. Of course, I'm always excited about reading the comic books too. So just working a few things, take away a few things, see what makes it all fill out.
And of just comics and DVDs and video games. I am, but I get it. let's see, I've got a manga. I've got the new
Well, then you should be happy.
comic.
That's good stuff.
Which looks amazing. I have the monographic novel, by the way, if anyone is not on, what's it called? I have it on my thing. Made Fire. They do their own comics online, so that's also an app. And Mono is one of their original titles that they do, and it's amazing.
Okay.
It's like Hellboy meets The Hunchback of Notre Dame meets some war story. I don't know. It's just interesting. It's amazing. It's really good. So I've got that. I could do that.
Well, you're going to have to start providing some of these reviews
Adventure Time
here so people can hear it.
Which I've already been playing, and it's amazing. It's called, Hey, Ice King, why'd you steal my garbage?
Wow. Okay.
I will. I love Ice King.
I'm sure that you will enjoy that.
He's also SpongeBob. He's also my favorite, so whatever. Voice actor wise, but
Ice King.
So I get all excited when I have something new, but I already watched all my Blu-rays that were sent to me. But mine aren't as new. I think they just revamped the digital Blu-ray version for some of the older movies. So I've got Princess Mononoke, which was amazing, of course. And then Tekken Kincrete, which is like an abstract anime. Not for kids at all. Zero. So let kids watch it. Princess Mononoke probably is
make sure that they understand. No, that's not for kids.
It's PG-13. It's from the same company that did like Ponyo, and this game was because they just came out a few months ago with My Neighbor, or Up on Poppy Hill. That's the newest movie that they did, which was really, really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
That one's kid friendly.
Now I have to say this real quick. When I browse through Comixology, sometimes I get concerned that something won't strike me or catch my attention or make me feel like I would want to read it like I would normally have in a comic store. But this particular comic, well, two of them have struck my attention, and I think I'm going to download them tonight so that I can be able to talk about it later. Afterlife with Archie is something I have never heard of. Afterlife.
Are they divorced?
Archie.
This is like after they get divorced, after they die.
Okay, listen to the review. I don't know what this is.
I used to read a ton of Archie. We were always on long road trips.
This is literally the first time I've ever heard of it.
And every stop we made, I picked up a new one. And I just, for years, I read
This looks nothing like Archie. Katie, this looks nothing like the Archie that you or I know. Nothing. There's 5 issues. Here we go. Let me get that review that they have in. Escape from Riverdale, Part 4 of 5, with 2 more members of our beloved gang infected by the dreadful zombie virus. Riverdale's one sanctuary, large mansion, has been compromised. The kids are left to make a significant decision. Do they stay and fight or flee the only town they've ever known? Meanwhile, Archie makes a horrific discovery in his own home, one that may cost him his life. It's red-headed teen versus gruesome undead canine in the latest chapter of this groundbreaking Teen Plus series. Definitely not in bold letters for all ages.
So which are the 2 that don't have the virus?
Yeah, they wanted to make it clear. Definitely not for all ages.
Can't be Jughead. He wouldn't even.
I'm assuming Archie. I haven't seen anybody else. I have to download the sample.
Things, right? Because he just keeps eating like he was when he was alive. When he was alive, all he did was.
No, I think Jughead is one of them. No, I think Jughead went down for the count.
I'm
looking at the covers, and I see that little crown, and I see
now he's just looking for
two hands coming up out the ground. And, no, what? Okay, look at that. Here you go. Issue number 3. There's a picture of the crown on some dirt in front of a tombstone with two hands coming up, and on the tombstone it says Forsyth P. Jones III.
I'm trying to think who are the
Jughead, pal until the end.
He's out.
So I
think Jughead's
gone down.
How would they pick?
He's gone down for the count.
What was the other guy? The black-haired guy that was like a jerk. Which one? Yeah, Reggie. Maybe he made it. He paid everybody. He was. Come on.
Reggie?
They couldn't pick one of the girls. Because that would add at least some comic relief to it, because they would be confused, because remember they used to always fight for Betty and Veronica?
Well, I don't know.
So they would fight for the two girls.
I don't think there's no comic relief to this. I really don't.
I know, but how could they pick just one of the girls?
I think this thing is supposed to be seriously adult.
Two of them are unaffected. That means either both Betty and Veronica and somebody else is still not a zombie, or one of the girls is a zombie and one of the girls is not a zombie.
Well, let me look at the only one that I really see that's a zombie here. Well, first off, the illustration on here does not look like the classic Archie illustration.
Yep.
No. It look. You ever seen one of those old pulp comics, like the ones that the horror comics, Tales from the Crypt or something like that? It looks like that. It looks like they've taken the Archie characters, but they've dropped them into a Tales from the Crypt episode.
This is on Comixology.
So I'm looking at these and I'm saying, okay, man, I think I am sold. This is on Comixology, and I'm looking at these. I was like, I'm sold right now. I think I am going to download this.
Are they 99 cents?
Is it? Unfortunately, no. They're not 99 cents. They're $2.99. But
I'm looking up right now.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty much caught with curiosity right now. So, Afterlife with Archie #1, Escape from Riverdale. This is how the end of the world begins. Harvey Award-winning writer Roberto Aguirre. I can't say the last part of Sacasa. There you go. Roberto Aguirre Sacasa. And Eisner-winning artist Francesco Frandella take Archie and the gang where they've never been before, to the grave and back. A horrific accident sets off a series of grim events, and Sabrina the teenage witch must try to repair the unspeakable evil her spell has unleashed. Gasp in the horror as Riverdale faces an impending zombie arch-apocalypse. Yes, that was the pun, arch-apocalypse. And this brand new, spine-tingling, ongoing series, but be warned, kiddies, this one is not for the faint of heart, for teen-plus readers. So, yes, I think that has sold me on I need to get this.
Oh, man, I need to change my password. Oh, that's good. I went ahead and clicked that first.
They're making you change your password? Yes, I told you. I told you.
Good job. I should probably comply. All right.
Yes,
so what was that
I don't
called?
think you will be able to comply without doing it. Let me get back to that so I can make sure I... Afterlife Archie. And they are up to issue #4 now. And that will be in new. If you go to the new tab, as I'm speaking today, which is the 6th of March, Afterlife Archie will be considered new.
But yeah, if you haven't downloaded the Madefire app, you need to, because I've interviewed them at New York Comic Con, and they're amazing people, first of all. They recruited all these amazing, like, comic artists from, you know, the people that did Watchmen and, you know, all kinds of stuff. And they make their own comics. And they move a bit, but they're not animated. And then you have to read mono. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can learn all about it. It's on my YouTube channel. Like, I interviewed them, and they're...
All right. I will have to.
Kitty Ninja, as always. KITTI.
Plug your YouTube channel. What is your YouTube channel? Say it.
YouTube.com/user/Kitty Ninja. So spreading the nerd page. Yeah. But main fire stuff is...
/ all that good stuff.
Amazing. And a lot of their original content's free. So...
Yes.
I'm telling you, it's the guys that did, like, Watchmen and Batman and all kinds of comics are now working for his company.
Oh, okay.
They're all owners. Okay, so I'm looking at the Archie series. Ooh, that does look like the old... I like that it looks like the old horror, like retro horror.
Afterlife with Archie. I'm just amazed that they took such beloved,
I'm about to tweet this.
harmless characters.
The link to this.
And
also
turned it into this.
I keep it simple. It's like all one place, right?
That's right.
And I'll tag us two fanboys.
And I need to take a read of this.
So I'm putting the link out on Twitter. So you can look up Fans Boys Radio or Archie or Comixology or Kitty Ninja. And the link will be there. It does look pretty neat. Sorry, passwords.
There you go.
It's tweeted. Probably now, as soon as I hang up.
Very good. Now, when are you going to read
I'll
that?
tweet it up, like, right now. Man, it's got, like, all 5-star ratings. So, no, it looks like...
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Second episode. No, that's Archie. I thought I was about to say that's Reggie. Who's in the background? Is that Jughead? It's not Reggie. So we don't know who the two are. So that means we have to read it.
I think that's Jughead. That's Jughead. No.
No, but episode
you see that little
2.
crown on his? See, there you go. People that's you know, you're not looking at this right now, but there is a comic book cover on Afterlife with Archie #2, where Archie, who's, you know, I understand. I know you're saying that it should be Reggie because of the R, but you got to remember they stay in Riverdale. He's wearing a Riverdale shirt, and he's got red hair. And his buddy, his best friend,
hungry.
Jughead, is tracking him down or trying to get him. Well, he's really hungry now because he's a zombie. So, and they got it. I think they have a good 4 pages of there.
Did Stephen King's
that
Carrie.
You can kind of take a look at.
The screenplay writer Carrie, and the artist that did Batman and Black Beetle. So it's not like a in the basement made comic.
No. And it cannot be stressed enough that if you are familiar with the characters and you think that it's going to be illustrated the way that you recall, it is not. You can take a look at it. You can see a couple of pages, and you can see that it is nothing like those Archie comics that we all know.
Right now.
Not in the least.
You're supposed to be doing these reviews
do not go thinking
for our
that
listeners. Now you're making me buy all this stuff. I'm like, ooh, I ain't buy this.
Don't go thinking that this some sort of... Well, that's good. Fantastic. And and with that, I think that we've covered the course of an hour here. I think that it's time to let them go and get the Comixology, go to Netflix and all those places and get those things and watch or read these pieces of material, this nerd literature and nerd cinema.
Am checking out right now.
As I'm going to do too, as soon as I get out of it. And yes, Betty and Veronica are a little bit more adult.
That's right.
I'm just saying.
So which one's the zombie?
I said Betty and Veronica are a little bit more adult in this. I'm just saying.
Oh, I think it's only two of them.
I think it's just Jughead. I think Jughead is the only one. No, I said two more members of the gang was infected with the virus, but which two I don't know because I haven't downloaded that particular issue yet. But that is issue 4. So you start with Jughead. Now you have to see who's gonna work out. My money's on Moose. I think Moose is gonna be the one. Now who's the second one behind that? I don't know. Maybe Reggie. You said Reggie was a jerk, so it wouldn't surprise me that he gets infected.
I'm trying to check out, but the whole password change is making it difficult. I'm like, I want to read it.
Well, yes. As Kitty Ninja tries to fix her passwords and everything, and remember, for those that are listening, Comixology has been compromised to some degree, and if you have a Comixology account, you want to go in there and take care of that if you want to continue being able to download and read your comics and so on and so forth. And really, if you're listening to this, then you definitely want to be able to read your comics because you're like me. You want to be able to read your comics and enjoy it whenever you want to be able to enjoy it. So take care and do that. If you want to check this and other episodes of Fanboys Out, you can go to blogtalkradio.com/fanboysradio and get some archived episodes. You can also get that on Spreaker, which also sends over to SoundCloud and sends over to YouTube. So all of this stuff that is being said and talked about and rambled over and whatnot, and this episode gets captured, and you can catch it and fast forward and rewind through it as you please if you want to get to just some part that you want to hear. Or you just want to hear a review and then kind of move on from there. So just go with that. Of course, Kitty Ninja's YouTube channel and her reviews. You can catch her, Kitty Ninja, on all her mediums, including Twitter, YouTube, probably Facebook. Don't know if she wants to share that one, so you have to ask her first.
I do, but I don't update it as much as the others. Okay, it's purchased. I can read it now.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'm going to read my Archie. I feel like a kid again, like I felt like I did something good when we'd stop at a gas station and I got a new Archie. I'm like, yay! It was probably just to shut me up, but we had 10 more hours to drive.
Oh, my goodness. Now, are there any final notes that you have to pass on before
just some facts
concluding
the Smite
this
tournament
particular episode?
Is soon. I think they're still accepting registration for anyone that wants to be part of the Smite tournament. I think for now it's $1,000 prize, but then you get further into the finals for the final Smite tournament, and they're like doing a big old production for this. It'll be worth it whether you play, don't play, know about it, don't know about it. I mean, they're going to have like an arena and lights and an announcer and dancers, and it's like a big old production. So for all the gamers out there, Smite Tournament is the weekend March 28th in Atlanta, and you can look it up just on my website, Smite Challenge, I guess it's called. So that's soon. And I'm sure there's tons of other things, but that's the only I can think of quickly. Everybody has to start getting all their cosplays ready because
that's
March,
good enough.
And
so
con season starting in 3 months, 2.5 months. So starting with MomoCon in May. So start sewing, planning.
It is.
Pinning, spraying, dyeing, whatever. Yes.
Do the things that you have to do to prepare for all of those good cons that are coming up
the same weekend,
here and elsewhere.
So in Orlando,
you need to catch them out.
MegaCon's weekend 28th, and they're going to have people. I mean, Stan Lee will be there. So you have your comic guests, but you also have your anime guests. Got a message from Vic Mignogna. He'll be there. So for anime fans, there's a lot of the anime voice actors. There's going to be comic people and celebrities. I mean, Stan Lee. You can't not go see Stan Lee. Come on. That's MegaCon.
No, can't.
I know. And actually,
if you had the opportunity to see Stan the Man Lee at this point, you should probably take
March 22nd is MegaCon. Yes. So, again, all kinds of stuff is starting. So our rest period is over.
Indeed.
Which I took advantage of mine. I've been all caved and just staring at anime and reading comics.
Well, I know you will definitely
doing nothing
be on
and just resting because it's about to start. It's time for us to get out, nerds. It's like that time of year for us to leave the house for a few months.
Yes, it is. And you must be prepared.
And you can buy comics there, right? If our comic stores are all closed, you go to a comic convention.
That's all right.
And you can sit there and just look through comics.
Yes.
All day they have comic book stands. And you can just browse
because comic books are rare
all day long, all weekend long. Buy all your comics. More reason for people to go to conventions. Because there's no comic book stores anymore. And then you can go down.
If you want to have comic books, you probably need to go there now just so you can say, I have a comic book. So. And I'm glad you said that because really, you can't get people to sign a digital format comic. You know, can't do it. So if you're gonna have that, get them to sign the that paper thing, so you can have that rare comic that you can always treasure and hold and say,
even if you don't read comics,
Stan Lee signed this
anyway, because he is.
There's still an advantage.
The most amazing man on the planet.
To have
He just anything that's happening in your life will go away when you meet him. He's just so uplifting and positive and tiny and cute. He's like an anime old man. He's so little and he's got this big personality, but he's pocket size.
Yeah.
You know,
tiny and cute.
He's just so little, but he's so grand. You have to. So go to Orlando in 2 weeks, and then come back to Atlanta for Smite, and do all that.
Will do. If I have the money for it. So, that being said, I want to tell everybody thank you for listening. Be sure to check out those extra links and podcasts and conventions that Kitty's talking about because they are coming, and I'm pretty sure that if you are a convention goer, you are very aware of that and getting your gear ready to rock and roll because this is about that time. For myself, Kitty Ninja, go to Comixology, download those books, go to the store, or go to Netflix. I think some of them on Netflix. If not Netflix, they're definitely on Hulu. You want to download some of those videos that I was talking about. They're really good. And we'll see you next week. Talk about some more of them, and hopefully I'll be able to talk about this Archie because it looks pretty interesting. It looks pretty cool.
I'm already on Comixology, reading this Archie.
Well, I'm glad I was able to sell you on it. So for that, folks, I do appreciate it. Still smoothing out the edges of the show, trying to get this thing onto Blog Talk because that's when it's really going to kick in, get those interviews back happening and cover these